We're now going to look at some real questions in section 15.2. I want to start with a beauty. This is question 4. It says draw a line 10 centimeters long. That's right, I've got my ruler ready to go there. And use your diagram, construct the perpendicular bisector of your line. In other words, cut it in half using one of these to help. So we drag my ruler into a more central location, draw my 10 centimeter line, so it's going to look a little bit like that on this scale. So that's okay. Get this thing, one day I'll stop doing that. Get this thing out of the way. Come on, it's gone. Goodbye. Right, remember, I've got to try and pretend I'm manipulating and using this pair of compasses to draw a bisector. You may recall that what we have to do is to take up this compass and make sure it's opened at a radius above 10 centimeters. So that's 10 centimeters. Use my pretty little brown ruler down there. So I've got to open this up to over 5 centimeters. So R equals over 5 centimeters. So open it out from there to there, and you put your point here, do you remember? And then you whoosh around all the way clockwise. Then you put your compass point there and you whoosh all the way around anti-clockwise. So I'm going to try and do that again and answer this question. So I've got a real 10 centimeter line. I'm just doing what the question says. So I'm going to put this compass point right there, right now, pretend, and whoosh all the way around. So here I am bisecting this line. So there's the first arc. Oh, that was fun. Then put my compass point, that one, right there, and draw this side, coming anti-clockwise, so whooshing to the left and round. Oh, that is beautiful. Anyway, so the two arcs overlap there and there. Use my straight line facility to join the points of intersection, and now that is, I love this. That is a lovely bisector. Even freehand, it looks like it's been cut right in the middle. In fact, let's have a little chart. Let's have a look at that, shall we? Let's see how close I was. Pure vanity, this is. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, it's bang on 5. Anyway, so there you go. I obviously rock. So that's that. I've bisected it, and there's your 90-degree angle. That's part A done. It says your diagram shows 4 right angles. Well, yeah, if that's 90, so is that, and so is that, and so is that. That is the nature of a perpendicular bisector. It cuts you in half, but not in a slanty sort of way, straight down through the middle at 90 degrees. It's beautiful. Part B says you've got your 4 right angles. It says bisect one of them to show an angle of 45. Bisect this angle. I'm going to go for this one right here. Don't cheat. We're not allowed to use a protractor. We know this is going to be 90. We're not going to measure off 45 and go whooshing up there. We have to bisect an angle in order to automatically create a 45-degree angle. So how do you do it? Now remember, you open out the compass just a little way. You take your compass point and put it right there. And I'm going to bisect this angle. So you just swing round like so. Okay, so then you establish that that length is the same as that length. Alright, so we now have 2 points on which to place our compass point. So you place this one right there, that point right there. Just open out your compass a little bit just to avoid this arc. So you open it out and you just whoosh like so, okay, from that point there. You then put your compass point right here and you whoosh around like so. Not sure how this is going to work out. So anyway, so you create an arc using that centre there, etc., and an arc using that centre there. And what you can see, I hope, go for blue, is if I take my centre point there and go through the line of where the arcs intersect, I've got myself an angle that's been bisected. So not too brilliant, but each half should be 45 degrees. I've tried to sort of simulate me doing this on paper with a real pair of compasses, and please note these constructions, if done properly, can be done on plain paper without any grid lines, and not having to use square paper in your yellow maths books. You don't have to do it on graph paper just to help you guide the lines through where they should go. If you do the arcs properly and obey the rules, you will get a perfect perpendicular bisector, and you get a bisector that bisects the angle that's specified. So it can be done on plain paper. Even mine, which is really crude, looks pretty good. Yours will look brilliant if you do it on plain paper. And that's question 4 sorted, grade C rated. Let's go back a little bit. Which one should we do? I think I'll do this one first. Right, this is question 9. Essentially, I've got to construct a perpendicular line from a point on a line. In other words, I've got to somehow draw a line from here straight up, and sounds easy, doesn't it? Well, it is easy, but you're not allowed to use a protractor. You can't put a protractor along here and measure a 90-degree line and off you go. No, I've got to use one of these again. So, back to the basics. So first let me just draw a line. So, how do you do this thing? Can't remember. Okay, a line. There's a line. So I'm going to sort of do that. Let's put a point on the line. Put a little cross there. So that's the point P. And I've got to go whoosh straight up there without having to cheat. Now, what I need to do is take my little compass, like that, put that point right there, and just do a small arc, alright? So, it's basically a circle, but all I need is a little arc like that, and a little arc like that. I don't need the rest of the whole circle. What I established, therefore, is a point of intersection with the line given, and I've proved, well, I haven't proved, I know that these two sections are of equal length, because they're radii from that point P to the circumference of the circle. Of course, the whole circumference isn't shown, just the arcs are shown. Alright, so I've established that there to there is the same, and there to there is the same, and they both have radius r. Is that alright? That's what I've just done. Next job, stab right there and stab right there. Now open out your compass a little bit wider, so stab there and do an arc above the point P. Okay, so I've stabbed it there and I went whoosh round with my pencil, this part clockwise. I then stab here and go whoosh anti-clockwise like that. This isn't very brilliant, is it? It should be vertical. Let's try and do a better one than that. It's got to look half decent. So there you go, there's my arc. And then stab here and whoosh round. I'm going to try and do that. Okay, so I've got two arcs that should be directly above P. If it's perfect, and I start from my point P, I should then join through the 2 points, the point of intersection where the two arcs have crossed over each other, and that's supposed to be 90 degrees. So not brilliant, but you see what I'm trying to do. That's a 90-degree perpendicular bisector. I don't have to go through the line. I'm not told to go through the line. If I was to continue it, it would be a bisector. It does in fact cut the line in half because I'm sitting on it at equal distance from each side of these two places here. But P doesn't have to be in the middle of the line. P could have been over here somewhere, in which case this doesn't bisect. It's just a definite perpendicular line. Alright, so review. Point P there, whoosh whoosh with your compass to establish equal lengths either side. Put your compass point there, do an arc. Put your compass point there, do an arc, and then construct your perpendicular using a ruler. And that's that one. The next one, where am I going? Let's go back a bit, just done that. I've got to construct a perpendicular from a point above the line. In other words, without using a protractor, I've got to start from this point here and get a perfect 90-degree line to land just about there. And again, no protractors, only one of these things. And this is a little bit more difficult, so let's just think about how to do this. Let's establish a line like so. Okay, line, for some random length. I've got a point P, so I'm going to put it there. There's my point P. So I've got to go doing and stop. Now, what I've got to try and do is to take my compass, put my point right there, and open up the compass in such a way that when I swing it round, it cuts through the line in two places. So this is me swinging round, doing. Alright, so that's part of the circle supposed to be. It's not very brilliant, in fact it's not even very good, but so that's what I'm trying to do. So compass point there, all these are meant to be radii of a certain length. As long as it cuts through in two places, there and there, we can use it. Next job, we got two compass point positions located, so this part goes here again, so stab it right there and swing round like that. Okay, so we've just put that compass point right there and we've swung round anti-clockwise. Next step, I'm sure you can get it, put the point there and swing round the other way. Bam, like that. Now look, I've got two arcs that have overlapped. I can then, with my ruler, if I had one, try and start from my point, go to here. See, that will be a perpendicular line, but I don't need to go that far. So I have to because of the software, because if I do this I'm guessing again, right? So in your classwork, make sure it passes through the two arcs to show that you have done it correctly, straight through. That's definitely 90 degrees, and you want it to pass through the two arcs. You want it to cut through this line. In fact, really you want it to stop right there, but you need to show these construction lines. In fact, if you just label it construction line, that'll be fine. Because the bit we really want is to construct a perpendicular above, from a point above the line, and then come down and touch the line. Well, you can't touch the line unless, of course, you carry on drawing the thing through the arcs. Otherwise, you won't know where to aim for. So this part is your perpendicular. All right, and that is a couple of good skills. So let's just review. Go back a bit. That was from a previous video. Right, perpendicular line drawn from a point to a line. Sorry, a perpendicular from a point above the line, drawn to the line. This is a perpendicular coming from a point on a line and going straight up. And this one was just a question where we're revising how to bisect a line, and then we bisect one of the angles. And that's all I want to do with that one. And that's the end of 15.2. I've done the best I can with what I've got, and obviously it's better doing it live, and we'll do some in class obviously.